All right, good evening, everyone, or good morning, because I know we have people all over the world today. Thank you so much for being here this evening or morning. We're happy to have you here so you can learn more about the College of Pharmacy with Purdue. My name is Amanda Manning. I am a senior academic advisor in the College of Pharmacy. I have been with the College of Pharmacy for a little over 2 years now. I am joined by three current College of Pharmacy students. I'm going to have them go ahead and introduce themselves. If you would each do your name, your hometown, your year in school, why you picked pharmacy and why you picked Purdue, that'd be wonderful. And if you forget that list, let me know and I will remind you. And for the record, on my screen, you are in the order Kayla, Justin, Shireen. So if you want to go in that order, that'd be great.
All right, I'm Kayla. I am a first year professional student, so a P1, and I'm from Denver, Colorado. I chose pharmacy because I liked how, you know, each person's like kind of a puzzle and you have to figure out how each of their medications work together to help them like achieve like the quality of life they want. And so I thought that was interesting and definitely something up my alley was uh, as I was talking about earlier, therapeutics, and that's why I find it so interesting. I chose Purdue because I liked how organized the curriculum was. I never questioned whether I was getting all of the classes that I need. There was a direct path. The path that I wanted had certain steps that you have to go through, and I liked how I didn't have to guess as to whether I was completing my degree or not. So that organization really helped.
Hi, my name is Justin Choi. I am also a first year professional student, so that would make it my third semester here, but the first year in the professional program, but my third year here overall. I am from just outside Atlanta, Georgia. What am I missing? Oh, Y Pharmacy. Okay. Y Pharmacy is I always knew that I wanted to do something within healthcare. I think the fact that I had chosen pharmacy was a little bit of a lucky encounter with some close family friends that had introduced me to the field. It was a bit of a leap of faith going from high school to applying to pharmacy programs, and I haven't looked back since. I've been enjoying it a lot. Purdue was one of those schools that provided good opportunities in, frankly, a lot of different majors. So I always knew that, even if I didn't want to do pharmacy, that would be other options for me to pivot to if that wasn't really my thing. But I really enjoyed my time here. The faculty here are amazing. I've had little to no like negative experiences for sure. So yeah, I haven't really looked back since, and I don't think I've made any decisions that I've regretted in terms of staying here for sure.
Hi, I'm Shireen Gore. I'm from Austin, Texas. I am a PP1, which is a freshman, and so a first year pre-professional or pre-pharmacy student. I chose pharmacy because, like they all said, it's really or it's a pathway that you're in healthcare, but you can also focus more on the technical part of it and like seeing how drugs work with the body. I knew I wanted to be in healthcare, but I didn't know exactly where. But then I definitely found pharmacy as like a safe space because um I've just always been interested in chemistry and how it all works with the body. So I found that like balance between being able to have patient care, but also being able to work with the medicine part of it too. And why Purdue? I honestly chose it one, or I definitely agree. Like the organization, like really helps a lot. I definitely don't feel like I'm ever like, oh, I'm getting behind or like, am I doing this right? Like everything is super organized here. And on top of that, there's a lot of support. I like the main difference I saw between this school and other schools I could have gone to is that everyone here wants you to succeed. Like, yes, there are hard courses, but no one's trying to like weed you out or anything. There's so many resources and everyone wants you to be part of that pharmacy family. So I definitely think that like I felt comfortable coming here and knowing that I would be able to succeed, even if it was like different pathways.
Awesome. Thank you all for sharing. I do have a presentation prepared today just to kind of walk us through some information that may be useful to you. So I will share that with you. Like I said, my name is Amanda Manning. I am a senior academic advisor in the College of Pharmacy, and you'll see my email there on the screen. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My advisees will tell you I'm exceptionally good at responding to emails in a quick fashion. It's just what I do. So please, any questions you have are more than welcome. And if you have any questions during the presentation today, feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll be keeping an eye on that. So hopefully we can get all your questions answered. All right, we want to start off with some of the big reasons why Purdue is a great choice. So within our college, we have 2-degree paths. We have our Bachelor of Science in Pharmaceutical Sciences. It is a 4-year program that we call the BSPS. This is really good if you're interested in research, drug discovery, drug development. Maybe you want to use it as a stepping stool to medical school or dental school. Maybe you want to go on and run your own research project. So maybe you'll go to graduate school. There are a lot of options with that BSPS program. I also have some students who are interested in pharmaceutical sales or medical writing who are using the BSPS path to get there. The other path you've already heard about from our students is our Doctor of Pharmacy program, and that will lead to you being able to become a licensed pharmacist, where you can go and work in retail pharmacy, ambulatory care, hospital, nuclear. There are a lot of different paths, more than just the white coat behind the counter at Walgreens or CVS. So definitely a lot of options. Below that, you'll see we have a 2+4 PharmD program. So what that means is it takes a total of 6 years to walk out with a PharmD. So that's the Doctor of Pharmacy. You do 2 years of pre-pharmacy, followed by 4 years of pharmacy school. So you heard our ambassadors mentioning Shireen's a PP1 first year in the pre-pharmacy program. That's a freshman, whereas Kayla and Justin are P1s. They're in their first year of the professional school, so it's their 3rd year here. So that's kind of how that works. There is an application to pharmacy school that comes after being admitted to Purdue and all that fun stuff, but we'll talk about that later. One thing that we're very proud of is our nuclear pharmacy program. It is the oldest and largest in the nation. It is absolutely fabulous. The faculty member that we have in our college literally wrote the book on nuclear pharmacy, Dr. Carol Weatherman, phenomenal. I'd like to ask my ambassadors, are any of you looking to do nuclear? Okay, I see Kayla nodding. Kayla, could you talk a little bit about nuclear pharmacy, what that is, and kind of what you do in the classroom?
Yeah, so nuclear pharmacy is basically just like dealing with radiopharmaceuticals. So that's like that could do like chemotherapy drugs or like MRI machines and stuff like that. I just took the first time you can take the courses in professional school. So I just took the first like intro course, and that kind of just gives you an overview of what pharmacy is, and I'll be in the lab course next semester. But I'm excited. I'm planning to pursue a nuclear pharmacy certificate. I just like how it's different. I didn't go into pharmacy school knowing what nuclear pharmacy was. So something I definitely liked learning about, and it was an opportunity that I could become a certified nuclear pharmacist if I wanted to. And doing the certificate gets you the first 200 of 700 hours done. So it's an option that I really wanted to keep open and something that I'm really enjoying.
Awesome, thank you very much. Something that is cool about our nuclear program is that it doesn't take any additional time on top of what you're already doing at Purdue. So during professional school, you're required to take so many elective courses, and you can use the nuclear pharmacy courses to fulfill these electives. So while you're going through professional school, you take these classes side by side with everything else, and so you're not extending your time at all, which is really nice. Another thing that we have is our academic retail pharmacy. It is called Purdue University Pharmacy, or PUP. And our P1 students are students who are in their first professional year. They actually work in the pharmacy, and they will work with patients. It is a real working pharmacy. Faculty, staff, students, community members can all use it to pick up prescriptions. I actually pick mine up there. And that way our students are getting real hands-on work in a pharmacy with real patients. Kayla and Justin, you both have done your pup rotations this year. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with that?
Yeah, I guess I can go first. It's fresh on my mind because I'm actually doing it currently. So, the pup rotation typically consists of it's 8 weeks, so it's the entire class. It's split into about like 4 sections that go throughout the first professional year of school, where you essentially get your for some people it's their first experience in like a retail pharmacy setting. For some people it may be another experience, but it's a safe, like, guided space where you get taught the introductory skills to working in a retail pharmacy. So we typically rotate through 3 stations that consist of patient counseling, um, patient filling, or prescription filling, and patient presentations, and prescription processing. So you go through those 3 main stations, and it's a large majority of what you would do in a normal pharmacy as well, like say at a Walgreens or CVS or something like that. So I think it's a good introductory course to give students an idea of what it's like to work in a retail setting and to introduce that idea, and they can go from there and decide whether that's something that they would like to continue to pursue, because it does give you a bit of a feel of what it is like to work in a retail pharmacies. And on top of that, we also learn, is it the top 300 or the top 400, something like that, maybe top 500, the top so many most popular drugs. So overall, you also get to expand upon your general knowledge of some of the more popular drugs that are on the market today as well. So overall, just a really good introduction to not only drug knowledge, but also actual work in the pharmacy, especially if it is your first time.
Yeah, I think Justin summed it up pretty well. On top of everything from like the academic point of view, I think that you work in a smaller group. I had my pup rotation the beginning of the semester, so I'm not taking it anymore. I kind of finished my 8-week course at the beginning, but you work in a smaller group in the pharmacy. You can't really have a pharmacy full of like 30 kids because it's going to be cramped and no one's going to actually get any work done. So you work in a group of primarily like 7 to 8 students. I really liked my group, but I definitely think that in pharmacy school, because there's about 150 of us, we get to know each other pretty well. And that was definitely a setting where I got to know my classmates really well and work together and like kind of get to know them. So
Wonderful. Something I would like to share is I said that our students are working in the pharmacy in their P1 year. Don't worry, they are supervised by teaching assistants and licensed pharmacists. So even if they make a mistake, they can be corrected and learn from it and move on. I know they get a lot of feedback in that course. So really learning those patient counseling skills and working with people, just a really nice opportunity. We are consistently ranked in the top 10 pharmacy schools in the nation, so that's kind of cool. And we are an R1 research institution. So our students are very involved in research. It's a very easy process to get involved. One story I like to share is one of my current BSPS students. He's finishing up his 2nd year right now. He came to campus for Boiler Gold Rush, which is an orientation program right before school starts. And he was at the pharmacy fair. We put on like a little carnival type welcome for students. And he went inside to use the bathroom, and he was mentioning to his friend that he was interested in research. Conveniently, right behind him was the Associate Dean of Research for the College of Pharmacy, Dr. Val Watts, who said, "You want to do research? Talk to me." And my student has been in a lab for 2 years now in the same lab, absolutely loving it. So getting involved in research is a great opportunity that our students have pretty easy access to. I don't think so, but correct me if I'm wrong. Have any of you 3 done research? Oh, Kayla, you got me. Can you tell me a little bit about what your experience has been like?
yeah, so right now I'm working on getting a project off the ground. So we're working on like getting approval for it. So the first project that I'm in right now is for food insecurity in breast cancer patients. So that's kind of working with the general Indianapolis area to help provide food to those going through chemotherapy. And then next year, I had a few connections at a company called Dialysis Clinic Incorporated, and they really wanted to work with Purdue to do some research. So I was kind of that bridge point between Purdue, and I've gotten them access to doing research through the university. So I'll be doing some dialysis research next year.
So cool. And to make those connections while you're still in college, so awesome. I love it. Another thing that we do that may be different than some other institutions is we merge our clinical and basic science teaching. So in the same semester of pharmacy school, you will be learning the book side of things as well as the application side of things. So maybe you'll be learning about the different inhalers during class, but during your lab, you will be talking with patients about how to use an inhaler. Maybe Justin, could you give us a little bit of background on how that works for you and how you can benefit from it, what your thoughts are? All right, let's try that again. We had internet issues. Justin, could you talk a little bit about how we put the book side of things along with the application side of things in the same semester?
Yeah, sorry, you had cut out there. I was like, I feel like she said my name, but I didn't hear. So just to I guess rephrase the question, you were just talking about how, oh, just like talking about academics and also just like application together. Yes, I can definitely talk about that. So in maybe not so much pre-pharmacy the first 2 years, but once you do get into pharmacy school, as you had mentioned, we do have we call them PSLs, the professional skills labs. When I first heard of them, I thought, oh, we're gonna do more, wet lab experiments type things, kind of similar to what you would think about in maybe like a typical chemistry lab, and that's not it at all. There's definitely a lot of academic, just like your normal book work in a variety of topics. Some of the ones I can list off right now that we've most recently finished, like pathophysiology, biochemistry, pharmacokinetics. Those are some of those courses where we're definitely going very in depth into various facets of um, pharmacy in terms of that book knowledge, where you're just learning those fundamentals, and that does help with that application as well, for sure, in terms of patient counseling. And then we have those professional skills labs where we go over applicable skills, and sometimes that means bringing in actual patients to come and we get to counsel them there. And similarly to what we were talking about with working in the Purdue University pharmacy, the thing I like about the skills lab is it's also a safe space where you can afford to make mistakes there. There are usually there's P4 students, so people that are on rotation in their final year, sometimes alumni that come back to help supervise some of the activities and events we do as well. So if we're doing counseling on inhalers, or if we are, I think one thing that was most recent that we had to do that was pretty new for me was doing, approaching sexual health and how to approach that, because it can be a bit of a difficult topic to approach, especially with someone you haven't met before. So things like that, they're always willing to give a lot of feedback. We get a lot of preparation. So it's something that I like, that you do get that turnaround where you're able to learn about these drugs, how they work in certain patient populations, but also be able to turn around and also be able to apply those skills and actually counsel patients as well in a fairly safe setting where you do there aren't really like consequences, but the atmosphere and environment is serious enough that you feel obligated to do well, but you're not punished for your mistakes. It's a safe space where you can make mistakes and learn from them and become better at counseling and applying what you learn.
Thank you for sharing. One other thing that we're proud of is that we are the most affordable of the top 10 pharmacy schools. And just to kind of put some numbers in place, these do come from 2019, but we have had frozen tuition for 12 years now, so our tuition has not increased. And this is just kind of looking at some other 2+4 schools near us. So we do our best to be affordable, so keep that in mind while you're kind of thinking about things. One other thing that I know I'm excited about is we are getting a new building. So right now we have a pharmacy building on campus that has our academic retail pharmacy, all that fun stuff. We are getting a new building with nursing. So that is hoping to be done in about 3 years. And this building is going to have our dean's offices, our advisors, classroom spaces, hangout spaces. We will probably keep the pharmacy where it is because it is currently right next door to our student health center, so that is conveniently located. But this new building should open up some doors for us. We are very excited for it. One thing I noticed I did not have a bullet for, but I thought it was worth mentioning is our learning community. So we have a pre-pharmacy learning community, and that is just a place where you can live with other pharmacy students. So if you're the type of person who likes to walk down the hall at midnight on a Wednesday saying, "What did you get for chemistry question number 5 in the homework?" you can reach out to other people who are in your classes and live nearby. It's not for everyone. Some people would rather live with a variety of people from a variety of majors. That's cool too. This learning community just gives you the opportunity to live with other students in pharmacy, and they do events. So it is overseen by Pam Ringer, another one of our advisors, along with Jane Krause, who is one of our faculty members. So they're trying to put on events to keep you involved, keep you engaged. We will do different events where maybe you go to dinner with faculty, staff, alumni, what have you. Even some TAs get invited. So really a lot of opportunities to meet some people. I see a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to throw these out there. And so let me throw out the second one first. Are any of the ambassadors in the learning community, or were you? I don't think so with this group. But Shireen, I know you've talked really well about it before. Can you, because I know you have some friends in there, could you give us a little bit of insight into that with your experience?
Yeah, so I know some people in it. I don't know too much exactly how the living experience is, but from what I've heard, it is nice to like have people to study with in the building. Like, you'll see them in the hallway and stuff. But for me personally, I chose not to go that way. I personally didn't like the building that the or learning living community was in, so I also wanted to live with people who weren't pharmacy majors. But I also think that if you choose not to live in it, you'll be okay. This a lot of the resources that they provide, there's so many organizations, and as well the College of Pharmacy itself provides organizations like events and volunteer opportunities and like getting to meet people within the pharmacy field, as well as also just study tools. There's plenty of like groups that meet up even at the pharmacy building and to help you. So I don't think you're necessarily missing out too much if you don't do that. And I will say that on my floor itself, I live in Earhart Hall right now, and on my floor there's like I think 3 or 4 other pharmacy majors on my floor, and that's just this floor. So I think like either way you'll be okay. It's definitely just like a personal preference of do you want to be like completely surrounded, or if you are willing to be open to other people too. So.
Awesome, thank you. Another question came through. Can AP credits like AP Bio allow you to skip the biology class for the pre-Doctor of Pharmacy pathway? So we do ask that any AP, IB, dual credit that you have, bring it in. We will find a place for it no matter what. So if you were to pass AP Bio or calculus, economics, it can allow you to earn credit for courses so that you don't have to take them at Purdue. And in general, if it applies to pre-pharmacy, I will strongly recommend you use it, especially the calculus, the biology, the economics, the statistics, the physics. The one that I'm going to chat with my students about is going to be AP chemistry. So Shireen had mentioned right before we started recording that if you take chemistry in high school, that intro chemistry course, it's very similar, especially if you took AP chemistry. That intro course is very similar, just more in depth. So if you got a 5 on the AP exam and you had a fantastic instructor and you feel really strong in general chemistry, then I'll let you use your credit. That's fine. That is a you decision. But I'm going to recommend you take our class just to get that more in-depth knowledge. And I see my ambassadors nodding, so I feel like this is good advice. And I've had ambassadors speak up saying, yes, yes, please take the course, take the course. It's just good advice just to have that knowledge going in. And if nothing else, it helps prepare you for the college level of work. So really getting into the thick of things. As far as class schedule variance affecting eligibility to the learning community, there isn't. If you are a pharmacy major, learning community is an option for you. Ooh, I love these questions flying in. What is the acceptance rate from pre-pharmacy to the PharmD program? Oh, I do have numbers on that, so I'm going to hold off on that one for a minute. Are any ambassadors working part-time as a pharmacy technician? And if you are, is it easy to manage this along with your coursework? Is anyone currently working part-time? Justin, you're nodding. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yes, I can. I do work part-time currently at a pharmacy, not too far off campus. So it's still in West Lafayette. In terms of the ease of managing the coursework, I would say it's definitely doable. How difficult or easy that is can sometimes depend on how you manage that coursework and that course load. You know, if you are the type to sort of put everything up until the last moment and then a lot stacks up, you know, it can be stressful, and then you might feel like working at the same time might not be feasible, or at the same time, the workload that you have might make it so that you feel like you don't have that time to rest, and work might get involved with that. But typically, if you do happen to find somewhere to work, which I will say can be a little bit difficult just because we are a large pharmacy school, and I'm sure working at a pharmacy is a go-to or something of at least a remote interest for a lot of the students here. It can be a little bit difficult to find a position like that around campus anyways, but if you are able to, at least the people I've worked with, I can only really speak for the store I work at. They're very good about communicating. They're very good about communication and understanding that us students, we do have lives outside of working. So as long as you're transparent about time and just responsible with how you manage it, I think it's definitely doable. I have been working as a technician. I guess now I'm an intern. Once you enter the professional program, you get promoted to an intern, get a little raise. So nice bonus there. But I've been working as a technician since my pre-professional, my second year as a pre-professional student, and I think it's fairly manageable as long as you manage your time well.
All right, thank you for that. Let's take a look at what a typical first semester might look like. So we have that intro chemistry course, Chem 129 is how we refer to it usually. It's a 5-credit chemistry course, so it is a lot. But the reason we do it is because it takes 2 semesters of chemistry and puts it together, so that come your second semester in the pre-pharmacy program or in the BSPS, you can take organic chemistry. So that's how we're able to fit our pre-pharmacy in 2 years, is by doing that Chem 129. Math 16010, that's our Calc 1 course. Biology 110 is our intro biology. PHSC 100 is a course that I find really interesting. It's a course where you are going to learn about different types of pharmacy. So what is it like to be a retail pharmacist or a hospital pharmacist or an ambulatory care pharmacist? How do you write a resume? Shireen, you took this course most recently. Could you tell us just a little bit about what your experience with that course was like?
Yeah, definitely. So like I said, it was only a 1 credit class. Usually our week would look like every Wednesday they'd upload a video. It was online, by the way. Which I don't know if that changes from year to year, but when I took it, it was online, and asynchronous. But basically every Wednesday they would upload a video. It was a lecture, so about like 50 minutes long. And every week they had a guest speaker come in with a different career within pharmacy, and they basically explain what they do, why they chose this career, and just like some facts about what they do and why you may want to join that. And then we normally had to write a reflection on it and like what we learned from it and if we would consider it. So I definitely enjoyed it. I think it definitely like introduced me into parts that I didn't even know existed in pharmacy. And like as much as like, oh, I didn't like, doing an assignment, the reflection like helped me kind of narrow down like, okay, like what do I like and what do I not like? And like even though you're not necessarily in the pharmacy school yet, it's definitely good to like have an idea of what you may want to do in the future. So it's definitely a good like step into the whole field of pharmacy and what you could do.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We also try to put students in something a little less STEM heavy. So an oral communication, a written communication, or an economics class. And that will vary based on whatever credit you may bring in with you. We advisors are really good at finding a way to make sure you have a full schedule and are still making progress towards your goals. So PharmD admission always is a big question. How does that process work? So you apply in the first semester of your sophomore year using PharmCAS. So it's an online application. It's sort of similar to Common App, but for pharmacy schools. We do not require the PCAT, so yay for that. The cool thing about doing your pre-pharmacy at Purdue and then continuing on is that help is always around. So as advisors, I know one of my, maybe not a requirement, but something I tend to do with my students is every time they're coming in to meet with me, I'm asking them, what are you doing to make yourself a strong candidate? What areas are you lacking in? What areas are your strong points? What can we do to make you a stronger candidate? So we're always talking about those things, trying to keep you on track as best as we can. We also have that PHSC 100 course that Shireen just talked about, but there's also PHSC 200. And this is a course that you take in your sophomore year in the fall semester where it's completely devoted to applying to the pharmacy program, so to the doctorate of pharmacy program. And in there, they will help you write a personal statement. They'll do mock interviews. So you're really getting prepped for this application process. Kayla and or Justin, would either of you like to talk about your experience with that?
So I think that Pharm 200 was a really helpful class. It kind of kept me on track with making sure I had everything I needed to submit my PharmCAS application. Like we had the TAs are already in the program, so they're kind of reviewing your personal statement with you where you can be stronger. It was also a lot of, well, my TA, it was another small group kind of situation. So we got closer with our TA. So my TA kind of helped me realize that it was more the quality of what you've done, because if you're applying your sophomore year, you probably don't have as much under your belt as someone who's like gotten their bachelor's already and are applying to the program. So you're probably having a little bit less experience, but my TA kind of encouraged me to think about it in a way that was like about the quality of what you've done and how you can talk about it and make yourself a strong candidate.
I hadn't heard that one before, but I like that. It really is about the quality of your experience. So thank you for sharing that. So you may be wondering, what makes me a strong candidate for the PharmD program? These are what we call the puzzle pieces because they come together to make the whole picture of what we're looking for in an ideal candidate. So work experience looks great. It does not have to be pharmacy related. I have a lot of students who have been babysitters or nannies, lifeguards. People who work in ice cream shops is oddly popular, as well as servers. We'd like to see leadership in organizations, so any sort of leadership looks good. Volunteerism and service. Being in the healthcare field is about giving back, so we want to see that you're dedicated to that. Academic performance is a big thing. So of course, the PharmD program is an academic program. We will be looking at your grades. The average GPA for students to get in is usually around a 3.4 for our incoming PharmD class. So when it comes to your college level grades, that's kind of what we're aiming for, is a 3.4 or higher. We would like to see career exploration. And I think this is the big one that Kayla was hitting on, that you may not have a ton of experience with career exploration, but do what you can and try to get as much out of it as you can. If that involves working as a pharmacy technician, that is great. If you can interview some pharmacists and learn more about their roles as pharmacists, that would be great. If you can shadow pharmacists and actually be in a pharmacy, if you can do pharmacy research, all of that is going to look good and help propel you towards that career exploration puzzle piece. We're also going to be looking at your communication and writing skills, because that is a requirement of pharmacists, is being able to communicate with your patients. But one thing I would like to emphasize is that when it comes to the work experience, the volunteerism, organizations, you're going to be able to count what you do at your junior and senior years of high school, along with what you do at Purdue. So those 4 years are going to all count towards your application. So that means if you are already, say, in the National Honor Society, in the band, orchestra, choir, if you're in sports, all of that is going to count from your junior and senior years of high school. Now, the thing is, when it comes to your sophomore year of college, you're not going to remember what you did your junior year of high school. So I would strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you keep either a physical notebook, a Google Doc, or an Excel spreadsheet with everything you do. So if you go and volunteer on the weekend, write it down. If you go work at a supermarket on the weekends, write it down. So you're going to want to write down what you're doing, who's your supervisor, what your duties are, what you learned from the experience. That all will be really super useful when it comes to the PharmD application. Is there anything my ambassadors would like to add or throw in about what they did to make things easier for them?
Not anything in particular, but I would say like I'm not even worrying about like preparing like a resume or anything like that. I think really just like jotting it down, even if that's like on a Google Doc or something, and just having it, it doesn't even need to be particularly organized. Just like this year I did this, like anything that you think could be good. If you think it's even something that might be worth mentioning, go ahead and put it, and it can always be discussed later on whether that's something that, should be there, where does that go? Like that can all be taken care of, but just putting all your experiences down, no matter, what it is, I think is the most important part. And just having that there so you can refer back to it just so that you aren't missing anything is always good.
I was gonna add something on the career exploration part, but my best tip would definitely don't be afraid to like connect with people who you usually wouldn't like normally try to connect with. For me, I'm the only person in my family who's in healthcare, so in terms of like finding someone that I could shadow or even just interview was a little bit tougher, but I think, like, if you really, like, everywhere you go, even just, like, the grocery store, like, anyone if your parents, if they have a friend of a friend or your neighbor. I mean, I interviewed someone who I see every time I walk my dog back at home, and they happen to be a pharmacist, and I was like, "Wow, this is great." But yeah, I definitely think taking advantage of all those opportunities, because the best part about it is you wanna interview people or shadow, do whatever, have more exploration in different types of fields. So honestly, sometimes having people in your family, they may all be around the same area. So definitely like reaching out to different people. Also, I didn't know about this, but I just wanted to share it because I didn't do this, but I heard from someone else that like that Farm 100 class, all those people you meet every week, someone had told me that like you can, or like if you take advantage of it, you can reach out to them, and a lot of them are open to interviews or even possibly shadowing opportunities. I did not know about that, but I heard that someone else did that, and I was like, "Oh, wow, that's pretty cool." So, definitely take advantage of every opportunity you get to meet, new people in pharmacy.
I would love to expand on that because you are absolutely correct that you can do that. In the PHSE 100 course, as well as a lot of different pharmacy groups on campus will bring guest speakers in who are pharmacists, and they tend to give out maybe not their phone number, but their email address. It is so you will reach out to them and connect with them. And the best question I can tell you to ask any pharmacist is, do you have any pharmacist colleagues who would be willing to let me interview and or shadow them? Because if I've learned anything, it is that pharmacists are connected. It is a very small world, and they definitely know someone else. And if you can find people in different areas, like Shireen mentioned, definitely going to be beneficial. So absolutely. So kind of getting to those numbers. So As far as admissions goes, the application is due on December 1st of each year. So this coming year, Shireen will be a sophomore and will be applying by December. We get about 400 applications. That's kind of roughly what we're looking at. And we invite 250 applicants for interviews. 150 students are admitted to each PharmD class, and roughly 135 of them were West Lafayette campus students. That sounds really scary, but usually each year about 200 of the applications come from Purdue. And if I have a student who does not get admitted to PharmD, most of the time, more often than not, if I have them make a meeting with me and they come into my office and I say, hey, do you know what happened? They say, yeah. Either I didn't have the grades, or I didn't have enough shadowing. I really didn't do my career exploration, or you know what? I was not prepared for my interview. Students generally know. So if you are working on those puzzle pieces, most of my students tend to get in. Like things look good for them. But what happens if you're not admitted? So you have options. You could apply to other pharmacy schools. So I mentioned that about 200 of our applications come from Purdue. That means about 200 come from elsewhere. So other students might be applying to Purdue as their backup school. So if I don't get in where I want to go, maybe I'll go to Purdue. Our students do that too. So you can apply to other schools. You could do a third year of our BSPS program. So something that I did not mention is that the first 2 years, the curriculum is nearly identical. There's only one course difference, whether you're a BSPS student or a pre-pharmacy student. So if you weren't to get into the program, you could take a third year of classes still within pharmacy and then reapply to the program if you want. Or you could look at finishing out the full BSPS program. I have students in all of these different areas who just choose what they think is best for them. And then you could always look at changing your major, but most of my students tend not to do that because my students tend to know that pharmacy is the right fit for them. So there are options, and always a good conversation to have with your advisor. Something else we have is priority admissions. It's a little complicated, but let me break it down for you. If you have a GPA at Purdue of 3.25 or higher, no grade less than a C minus, and a GPA of 3.0 or higher in that list of courses, we can guarantee you an interview. So we start with all the applications, and then we narrow it down to the 250 that we interview, and then the 150 get in. So if you can meet these requirements, we can at least guarantee you an interview. There's a question in the chat: would another year in BSPS extend the professional program by another year? So instead of being a 2+4 for a total of 6 years, it would be a 3+4, so it would be 7 years total. Good question. I like that. We had already talked a little bit about the research opportunities, but there is a lot. I had mentioned some of our pharmacy opportunities, but there are students doing research in other areas as well. Students are able to reach out to the biology department, the chemistry department. I have someone in psychology right now doing research. So you can reach out to truly anyone out there. And we have different research fellowships, and all you do is reach out to the faculty and they will try to get you in where they can. So important information, next steps. It would be ideal if you were calculus ready when you get to Purdue. So if you can bring in calculus credit, that is awesome. If not, the next best step would be to have an SAT math score of 620 or higher, or an ACT math score of 26 or higher. If you don't have that, that is okay, because we have an ALEKS placement exam. And if you get a 75 or higher, we will count you as calculus ready, which means that you can take calculus your first semester. If you don't meet that requirement, that is also okay. Just talk to your advisor and we will see what we can do about finding a path that works for you. We want to see you register for All Aboard. So that's our onboarding program where you start learning about Purdue, you start learning about the College of Pharmacy, just really getting those bare basics. Register for BGR, so that's the Boiler Gold Rush orientation that I mentioned earlier. Sign up for housing. These dates have changed again. So it was announced yesterday that the dates have been pushed back a little bit more. So the housing date is June 5th, but the priority deadline is May 20th. So if you know who you want a room with, or if you want to be in a learning community, you will want to submit by May 20th. Make sure you're checking your Purdue email regularly, because that is our official communication with you. I unfortunately do know how many emails you get to that email, and it is a lot, but I promise it is worth your time to sift through it and find the ones that are important to you. Be sure to submit your AP, IB, and dual credit to Purdue. If you're looking at certain scores, I know with AP, it happens a lot with scores of 3. If you're looking at how it transfers, it might come in as, say, biology 1XXXX. Still submit that credit because that's called undistributed credit and it can count towards electives. That is very important as the definition of professional student just changed. So we really need students to get up to 72 credits before they enter the PharmD program, and those undistributed credits can count there. So anything you can bring in, do it. And then try to do some shadowing and volunteering. A lot of students may have a hard time when they're in high school getting shadowing opportunities, but you can also interview pharmacists. So just asking, hey, do you have 30 minutes to sit down? I have some questions for you. A lot of pharmacists are willing to, just because they want to bring up the next round of pharmacists. So there are some opportunities of things to help you build moving forward. That is the end of my presentation. I'm here, my ambassadors are here. If anyone has any questions, you're welcome to put them either in the chat or you can unmute yourself. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to throw my email in the chat. So if you have any questions after this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me and I will get back to you. So, what questions are there? Are there summer requirements for the professional program? Really good question there. So after your first year in the professional program, you'll be required to do a rotation in the summer in a community pharmacy. After your second year in the professional program, there's an institutional pharmacy requirement rotation, usually in a hospital setting. And then in your 4th professional year, which truly starts after your 3rd year is done, you'll be doing 9 rotations throughout that whole year. Some of them may land in the summer, some of them will land during the school year. It's going to depend on where things line up, but those are the only real summer requirements. Good question. How do you assign rotations for the last year of pharmacy school? Someone has done their homework. That final year rotations, you will get to rank your preference of rotations, and then our experiential department will assign students. So you might say, I want to do this in this order. And then based on those preferences, our experiential department will place you in rotations. How many weeks of summer? Justin and or Kayla, do you guys know how long the rotations are?
I know it varies for the rotations. I know this one is 4. The community one after your P1, the P1 summer, the P1 to P2 summer is 4. I think the institutional rotation is 3, I believe. So I think you should roughly look at about a month of the summer.
Awesome. That's what I was thinking, but I wanted to double check.
Mhm.
How likely are you to get your top preferences? That's going to be very dependent on what your preferences are. So we have some rotations, especially in the P4 year, that are exceptionally popular, especially our abroad rotations. So we have some rotations in Kenya, London, Wales, Colombia. We also have some in the Southwest US as well as Alaska. Some of those can be really super popular. or maybe some in West Lafayette where you're close to campus. Those ones can be really sought after, so you may not be as likely to get those. So it's really going to depend on what your preferences are along with your classmates. Do you have prep classes for the licensure exam? We do. During the P4 year, our faculty are still in touch with our students, and I believe they meet over Zoom to have prep time, and we have access to different preparatory materials for students that they get to use as well. I am going to turn off the recording.